Hello, children. Are you ready to write? You have worked so hard over the last few weeks learning all about instructions, and now it's time to put everything we've learned into practice. And you are going to write a set of instructions to turn your teacher into a toad. Now, you did lots and lots of work for me yesterday creating fabulous ingredients, and I have to say there were some brilliant ones that I saw. The curl of a pig's tail was, I thought, inspired. The light from a firefly, a chameleon's camouflage, the stripe of the last tiger on earth, a fang stolen from a sleeping dragon. There were so many amazing ideas there, children. Thank you for all your hard work. But of course, you didn't just write down your ingredients. You also collected lots of brilliant imperative verbs linked to cooking and some adverbs too, and they're all going to help you today. So you're going to need your lists from yesterday, your planning, so have that handy before we start the lesson. Now, obviously, if we're going to be turning a teacher into a toad, it's because that teacher is not a particularly kind and sweet teacher. She's more of a Miss Trunchbull than a Miss Honey, maybe, for those of you that know the story of Matilda. And I thought I might just set the scene by reading a little extract that's part of this story, which is called Miss Nelson is Missing. And this is about some children, and their classroom's called Room 207, and they don't always listen to their teacher. So one day their teacher, who's Miss Nelson, doesn't come to school. Let's just mess around all day, the children said. Not so fast, hissed an unpleasant voice. A woman in an ugly black dress stood before them. I am your new teacher, Miss Viola Swamp. And she rapped the desk with her knuckles. Where's Miss Nelson? Asked the children. Never mind that, snapped Miss Swamp. Open those arithmetic books. Miss Nelson's children did as they were told. They could see that Miss Swamp was a real witch. She meant business. Right away she put them to work, and she loaded them down with homework. We'll have no story hour today, said Miss Swamp. Keep your mouths shut, said Miss Swamp. Sit perfectly still, said Miss Swamp. And if you misbehave, you'll be sorry, said Miss Swamp. The children in room 207 had never worked so hard. Days went by and there was no sign of Miss Nelson. The children really missed Miss Nelson. Now I think that's the kind of teacher, Miss Swamp is the kind of teacher that if I was in her class, I might need a potion to turn her into a toad. So let's see how we're going to write the recipe for that potion. Well, we are going to use our reading rainbow. We're going to use our non-fiction shapes, the ones that we've been using over the last couple of weeks. And I'll need you to keep looking back at our sentence stack based on our how to make a sandwich set of instructions that we wrote together, because that will help you to structure what I want you to do today. Now, I'm going to use all that lovely vocabulary from yesterday. I've also put a word bank in our PDF file to help you, and that word bank has got some cooking verbs on it. It's also got some adverbs that you might want to use and some time words, some adverbs of time that I need you to use as you go through and write down the steps for your recipe. We're going to use the same lenses that we used previously earlier this week when we wrote about Oreo cookies, and we used last week. So our lenses are going to be the noticing one for precise description. Obviously our powerful verbs, I want lots and lots of really brilliant imperative verbs. We're going to use rhetorical questions. So we've got our punctuation lens. Alliteration, that's the one with the ear. Our call to action, those are our basics, because we're going to write a sentence that inspires our reader to carry on using these instructions. Our adverbs of time. And then our conditional if sentence. And I'm clearly looking for correct punctuation. I really should have said neatest handwriting on there as well, children, because I want to see you using all those fabulous letters that we have been practicing in our kinetic letters lessons every day. I have provided for you the story map, the non-fiction map, for how you're going to use our lenses at which point. So you'll see it on our PDF file, so keep that map in mind. Now, we're going to be writing quite a lot today, as I said, and tomorrow, so hence why I don't want us to rush. I want us to think carefully about it. So remember, when we're writing, we write one shape at a time. We don't rush forward. Like the plot points, we stick to one shape and then we make sure we've covered that and then we move on. So we're going to begin with our heading, and our heading is going to be our how-to. Now, we're really good at writing these. I had some brilliant ones for the Oreo cookies. So you need to write your how-to, turn your teacher into a toad heading. You could improve that by maybe adding some alliteration, maybe adding some more precise adjectives. And once you've got your heading, you then need to write your hook. Now, your hook, if you remember, is where we ask these questions, the rhetorical questions that don't need answers. They're there just to make your reader want to find out more. So I want a couple, two, one, maybe, at least one, preferably two, if not more questions. Now, your questions are going to link to what kind of teacher we have. Is this a teacher that gives you too much homework? Is this a teacher that shouts all the time? Is this a teacher that provides really boring lessons? Is this a teacher that makes you work so hard your hand hurts by the end of break time? That she never lets you go out to break? Lots and lots of things. Maybe this is a teacher that treats you really badly and always makes you write lines. You've got to think about all those things that teachers do. The Miss Trunchbull kind of teacher. Does she lock you in the jerky? Is there some reason why you might need to get revenge on your teacher? Has she done something that you really didn't like? And those are the sort of things you could be including in your rhetorical questions. Talk to your grown-up about it and then write your ideas down. Use those fabulous sentence openers that we talked about in our previous lessons. Once you've got your questions, then you need to add that call to action. And your call to action is where you need to show your reader that actually they've got this terrible teacher, but they use this potion. It's going to solve all their problems. So you need to write a sentence that tells your reader that this is a really easy way of solving their problems and they just have to follow these instructions to get rid of their teacher or turn them into a toad. I'd like you, if you can, to include some alliteration at this point. You could refer to the name of your potion. You could call it your name. It could be, and I think I've used the example, Maisie's Marvellous Mixture. But I'm sure you can think of lots of other kinds of alliteration to go with your name and include that. So it could be, do you want revenge on your terrible teacher? If you do, then you need Maisie's Marvellous Mixture. Read on to find how to make it. Now, before you go any further, once you've done the hook and it's complete, I want you to check. Have you got capital letters and full stops? That's what I'm going to be looking for. After you've written your hook, we then go on to the third part of our non-fiction shapes, which is the what you will need subheading. This is where we put our lists, and you need to give me your list of your ingredients, including quantities, and your list of equipment. You've already written these. If you chose more than 8 ingredients yesterday, I want you to pick your 8 favourites. I don't want more than 8. Once you've done that and you've written them out, you're then going to move on to the steps. First of all, you've got to introduce the steps by writing a subheading. And we had lovely things last time about, are you ready to cook? Let's cook. All those kind of things can be used. And then you get on to writing your steps. We write them in numbered bullet points. They need to begin with adverbs of time. I want you to use lots and lots of different powerful verbs. I don't want you to tell me add this, add that, put this, put that. Each one has got to be on a new line. Now, there might be a tendency to go, right, let's just put everything in our pot all together and then mix it up. You're not allowed to do that. I want you to add your ingredients one at a time. And after you've added your ingredients, you need to tell me what you do with them. So, for example, if I was writing instructions, I might say, right, now add the bat's wings, then add the dragon's blood. I have to do something though. I can't just keep adding things in. If you picture a pot with all these things in, they're all just going to be sitting there looking at me. They're not going to be mixed together unless I tell my reader to mix them together. So after I've said add my bat's wing, I might say whisk the mixture vigorously, or I might say stir thoroughly. Then I'm going to add my next ingredient and I've got to do something else. It might be that I then need to stir the pot, or I might need to shake it. Anything that I do, but I have to give an instruction of what to do with my ingredient once I put it into my pot. So think really carefully. Test it out. That's the point at which it's really easy to add your adverbs as well. As you go, check that you've added all your ingredients. The best way to do this is to add the ingredients in the order, or use the ingredients in the order that you've written them in your list at the start of your instructions. That way you're not going to miss one out. So keep going back and checking. What have I added last? What do I use next? So make sure that you're including all your ingredients. I want lots of detail, children. You can add in a conditional if. You might want to add in a warning. Don't add too much because. Think back to George's marvellous medicine from yesterday. Now, once you've got all your ingredients, you've used all your ingredients and you've told your reader what to do with them. They've stirred them, they've mixed them, they've whisked them, and they've made their potion. You have to do something with it. You have to get it to your teacher. And that means you've got to pop it into maybe a cake or coffee. Get it to her somehow. And that has got to be then another step in your instructions. Not quite the final step, but you've got to get it to your teacher. And then at last, you're going to tell me what you're going to do once you've given the potion to your teacher. Are you going to run and hide? Are you going to stand back and watch what happens? So think carefully. Each ingredient, one at a time, in your steps, using powerful verbs and time words, and doing something with your ingredients. Don't just put them all in the pot and stir them at the end. You've got to stir or whisk or melt or do all sorts of different things, boil as you go along. So there's lots of options for you. Then once you've done that, I want to see if you could end with another question. How are you going to get your reader to share these ideas? What do you want your reader to do with them? Do you want your reader to tell other people about them, or keep it secret maybe? That could be a good one, couldn't it? Perhaps say to your reader, oh, don't tell anybody about these, keep them secret. You wouldn't want everybody else to know how to do this. So that kind of thing. Really looking forward to seeing what you do today, children, and tomorrow. As I say, I'm not expecting these to be finished today. There's a lot of work that goes into these, and I expect you to take your time. So spread this over 2 days. Then when it's finished, send it to me. I really, really can't wait to see your ideas. I can't wait to see your sets of instructions. So have a brilliant couple of days, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now, Year 2.